Hello, good evening. Welcome to Camnet Television Main News. I'm Jeffrey Ziambo to present the news tonight. The top stories in the news: former First Lady Esther Lungu arrested for theft of a motor vehicle. Divergent views emerge over government's return of KCM to Vedanta. KANYAMA man nursing injuries after being battered by police officers. In international news, Egyptian President ABDEL Fattah al-Sisi calls for measures to slow the birth rate. And in sports news, FATTAH's CLINCHES Morocco friendlies for Copper Queens.
Water is life. Each drop counts and each must be cherished. Our tried and tested product meets all international standards. With our smart drip technology, we aim to deliver precision irrigation designed to reduce blockage and wastage, ensuring a high yield. RenGlow, your smart irrigation partner.
Hello again, the news in detail. Children under Lusaka Garden Monitoring Team have complained that lack of water in the area have been hindering their education. Speaking at a forum organized by the Civic Education Association of Zambia on Monday, Patience Nyirenda explained that she is forced to wake up in the middle of the night to draw water because the water in her area only comes between 24 hours and 05 hours. She says failure to wake up at midnight compels her not to go to school because she has to walk a long distance to access the commodity. Meanwhile, Lusaka Water Supply and Sanitation Company Regional Community Development Officer Musonda Chishoma says the authority cannot afford to supply water 24/7 in all parts of Lusaka province, but with the coming of the Kafue bulk supply project, the situation is likely to improve. More in this report.
These are children from Kamanga and Garden Compound monitoring teams who have been working with the Zambia Civic Education Association in monitoring the challenges affecting their community and presenting their findings to the relevant authorities for their consideration. At an interaction forum organized in Lusaka Tuesday afternoon between the children and the relevant representatives from different wings of government, the children from Garden Compound raised concerns on sanitation challenges and lack of water, which has continued to negatively affect their well-being.
Zapeska maybe munyumba ukauka mzapeska mlibe manzi uzafunika onyamuko ndokata pe manzi engatwachedwa suzatapa manzi, so that would be difficult for us to bath and go to school.
Ngafuna kamba kubali wa Lusaka City Council dotako so mataka collect magabages peska tushala bina ngwa basa majangi atimtitaile ko
Meanwhile, the children from Kamanga Compound raised concerns on aspect of the children not having their birth certificate and how this has the potential to affect them as they grow.
We found out that a lot of children don't have a birth certificate, but they only have birth records in our community. That's what we found out. The other point is that we found out that a lot of parents do not know a difference between the birth record and the birth certificate.
So my parents tunapeza na vintu vosiana zinavyotuuza. My parents don't know how my birth certificate. My parents don't know how kunukutari kunotenga my birth certificate. Wenangu banashita kudara register kwa clinics but na manje wakapotenga.
The children also propose solutions on how these challenges can best be addressed by the government.
Government should be giving birth certificates right after birth. After a child is being born, after you have been born as a child, I should be given a birth certificate right there and then.
We recommend the Lusaka City to be monitoring our houses in our community for proper building of pit latrines and water buildings.
And in responding to the challenges in the water and sanitation sector, representatives from the Lusaka City Council and the Lusaka Water Supply and Sanitation Company assured the children that their concerns had been taken into consideration.
People don't want to pay for water. And do you know what they do? They wake up in the middle of the night and try to reconnect themselves. They dig and connect. So in the process of trying to connect themselves, you'll find that there's too much pressure, perhaps they even fail, then they leave it open. Then now the soil, the mud enters the pipeline. When you open the tap, you find brown water. So we urge our communities to be our eyes.
Out of that, we should also have a responsibility on how we can keep our surroundings clean as we are working together with our local authority, in this case, Lusaka City Council.
Meanwhile, Registrar Vital Statistics and Coding at the Department of National Registration, Mzingo LUNGU, assured the children that the department is working with the Ministry of Health to see how best children can be certified at birth.
Being the mandate holders and not being present at the occurrence of the birth, we know it's necessary for us to put presence where that is actually happening. So we're working with Ministry of Health right now so that we can link our system, which is the Integrated National Registration System, to their smart care.
Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
A 27-year-old man of Lusaka's KANYAMA compound is nursing serious injuries after he was allegedly battered by police officers who have since denied issuing him a medical report, leaving him without medical attention. Ian Muyanga, who is nursing severe chest pains, a bruised leg and swollen left side of the jaw, tells Camnet News that the incident happened on Wednesday, the 30th of August in the evening. Mr. Muyanga claims police officers picked him up without explanation from his makeshift trading place and later assaulted him, but he remains unable to seek medical attention as police officers at both KANYAMA First Level Hospital and Los Angeles area have refused to issue a medical report. The mother of the victim, Josephine Muyanga, is not happy with the behavior of the police. Afias Kaputula reports.
He can barely walk after he was allegedly battered by police officers from Los Angeles Police Post on 30th of August 2023. According to the victim, 27-year-old Ian Muyanga of KANYAMA constituents, he was picked up by the police believed to be on patrol the evening of Wednesday, 30th August, from his makeshift stand where his cell was pork. He says without explanation he was assaulted, locked up and later released. There was a day police were passing that side. They found me selling pork. Immediately they caught me without a reason. But immediately they picked me, they started beating me. I was beaten a lot in the chest. In agony with difficulties to eat, Mr. Muyanga can however not access medical attention as police officers at both KANYAMA Level 1 Hospital and Los Angeles Police have allegedly refused to issue him a medical report. I was beaten a lot in the chest. I don't feel stable in my chest. I'm even failing to eat. I'm only managing to eat porridge that my mother is cooking for me. The tooth on this side, they are shaking. I have also injuries here. I'm not feeling well. They also got 900 kwacha I had on me. I don't know what I can do. We went to the police so that we can get the medical report with my mother, but they refused. They said, wait for the CIO. The second day of going there, they gave us the same reason. Again, went there, they gave us the same reason. I don't know what I can do. Mother to the victim, Josephine Muyanga, has lamented over the behavior of police officers whom she accuses of aiming to kill her son. You have killed. I told them that in fact you have killed. And then they told me, no, you should come around 10 hours. Then told my son, be strong, let's go there. I confronted the same police officers before they knocked off. I said, no, you have killed my son, give me the medical report. Because you battered this child so that I can use in case of any emergency. When contacted for a comment, Zambia Police Deputy Spokesperson Danny Mwale requested for the family to contact him. Meanwhile, KANYAMA Member of Parliament Monty Chinkuli has since urged the police in the area to issue the injured Muyanga a medical report, as it is his right. For Camnet News, Afias Kaptula, Lusaka.
The Zambia Consumer Association is urging government to consider setting up Zambia National Service-operated milling plants in all the 10 provinces of the country to contribute toward reducing the price of milling meal. Association Executive Secretary Juba Sakala says there is a need to capacitate ZNS to produce the commodity in huge quantities, saying the state must manage the production of mealie meal to compete with the private sector if the prices are to be regulated. In the recent past, there have been calls for the government to find immediate solutions to the escalating prices of mealie meal in the country. More in this report.
Many Zambians rely on maize as their main source of food. Popularly known as ubunga, is considered to be the staple food in the country. Farmers labor throughout the rainy season to produce enough grain to feed the country for the entire year. However, the price of the end product, mealie meal, has raised concerns among many Zambians.
So kulefa ikababweshe kofyo 150 fibia tule kwanisha ko kushita ko bunga bantu tule shitati katwaya mukushita lelo twasanga nabu baba watu 100 mailo futi nga waya ukasanga tufibia ndi no mbata file bwele la file afipa mungu chali nga babweshe ko bunga ubunge ule shuka file okubantu ngababwesha kusiyo bunga fianse filifye bwino nombo bungo bwino ngabatipaya unga wadula tukangosunga abana kuno bwino tusunga abana banshiwa ndisema widows asate wao banafani kudala tivutika na abana but unga wa mwandi batishita nabyo mwandi unga we ati ganizireko mungapa ntengo wa unga walingana na nyumba tilipira nyumba ni semu na unga meti za kwanisa bwanji tisema widows.
Several stakeholders have suggested ways of addressing the cost of the commodity, with the latest being Zambia Association of Consumers Zaka Executive Secretary Juba Sakala.
So what our suggestion is to have stabilize the price of maize meal. This committee which will be formed, let them start looking at FISIP, how to manage FISIP, the issue of marketing, storage, and so on and so forth. Then we can see where we have gone wrong, because we found ourselves in this situation when we had the bumper harvest the past years. We had a lot of maize in stock, but we found ourselves in a situation where we don't have maize. Then the price of maize meal has gone up. I know a lot of governments they've gone on saying that we have ZNS. Fine, ZNS is there, but has ZNS got the capacity? No. They are unable even to certify Chongwe or Monze or Mpika. So we need more milling plants for ZNS. One should be in Chongwe the way it is. If you can have one in Lusaka district, then probably 3 in Southern Province, 4 in Copper Belt, and so on and so forth. These will be able to stabilize the price of maize meal.
In most parts of the country, mealie meal is fetching between 270 kwacha and 300 kwacha, and the cry of most Zambians remain that government finds a lasting solution to the escalating prices of the commodity. Vincent Piri for Camnet TV News, Lusaka.
About 160 Constituency Development Fund CDF-sponsored students in Monze district have abandoned driving lessons at a named driving school, citing lack of seriousness by the school. It is believed that Kadampi Driving School is not registered with Taveta to offer such services, and the owner of the school decided to engage other schools. One of the aggrieved students, Samuel Mijelo from Momba constituency, said each student was paying 3,500 kwacha to undergo driving lessons to the school and spent about 9 months for a program that was supposed to take a month. When contacted for a comment, Kadampi Driving School Director Ali Magia's phone went unanswered. More in the following report.
Some Monze-based youths have been left stranded after about 9 months of attending a driving school sponsored by the Constituency Development Fund CDF has yielded no results. The aggrieved learners from various constituencies around Monze claim they enrolled at Kadampi Driving School around January, but after more than 7 months they have not been graduated. We were 170 in total. Each person was paying 3,500.
170.
Kadampi doesn't have any certificate to teach driving. They don't have the paper from Teveta. That is why we are going to Vicky there so that they can train us, because they said to have the paper, the TVETA certificate. The youth says efforts to get help from the council has equally yielded nothing, with management threatening to divert resources. The process to get licenses from Kadampi started in January. But since in January we have been coming here, at some point we wrote mock with Ratsa where we got provisional licenses. But since then nothing has happened. Myself, I'm remaining 3 days for the provisional license to get expired. To book for us so that we can get licenses. They have been saying there's no money. One of our friends who we started the driving school is already driving. He's on the rank. He has a vehicle there. They should tell us surviving the way we are surviving. So that with this new government we'll see some change, so that we benefit, so that we can see some things we never saw with the previous government. But what we've seen is nothing, zero. The council chairperson threatened to cancel the payment, so that stating that he can use the money to purchase fuel for the graders. Monze Town Council chairperson Paul Mutenguna, when contacted for a comment, has however denied the council's involvement in the selection of a driving school under CDF.
If someone has participated there but has got no certificate, we shouldn't be paying that person, because an instruction by the PS, the Technical Minister of Local Government. So by then, the CDF and the provincial office had already approved them to be under that institution, which had only a receipt, but no certificate.
When contacted for a comment, Kadampi Driving School Director Alec Mangiwa's phone went unanswered. With the Constituency Development Fund aiming to uplift lives of citizens, especially youths, it is therefore hoped that such occurrences will be curtailed. For Camnet News, Afias Kaptula.
The opposition Economic Freedom Fighters, EFF, has accused the Hakainde Hichilema-led government of disregarding the interests of the majority Zambians for handing back Konkola copper mines to Vedanta. Party President Kasonde Mwenda says the handover of a key strategic government mining asset to Vedanta raises serious concerns about the UPND's commitment to protecting the interests of the Zambian people. In 2019, former President Edgar Lungu's administration placed Konkola Copper Mines KCM under provisional liquidation after accusing Vedanta of tax evasion and exploitation of workers, among other issues. On Tuesday, the 5th of August 2023, Mines and Minerals Development Minister Paul Kabuswe announced the handover of Konkola Copper Mines KCM to Vedanta Mineral Resources. More in this report.
Former President Edgar Lungu's administration placed Konkola Copper Mines under provisional liquidation in 2019 after accusing Vedanta of lying about expansion plans and tax evasion. This sparked a series of court cases culminating in the current president Hakainde Hichilema seeking to resolve the dispute amicably. In the same year, 2019, now Republican President Hakainde Hichilema was among critical voices advocating for the seizure of the Konkola Copper Mines from Vedanta for violations of regulations. On July 24, 2019, while in opposition, President Hakainde Hichilema posted on his Facebook page, as quoted, "We have been very categorical and consistent that Vedanta should have gone a long time ago due to clear breaches and violations of numerous contractual agreements and obligations with the Zambian people." End of quote. As though that was not enough, President Hichilema denied allegations that he had promised Vedanta to take over KCM.
Never promised anybody, we have never promised Vedanta any return of a mine. We have not offered a mine, as my colleague talked about in the government, to anybody. I challenge him where he got that information. That's a falsehood. We don't do business like that. We understand business. We don't do it like that. So, we never promised Vedanta a restoration of KCM. Never. Never ever before.
In a turn of events, the Hakainde Hichilema-led UPND government has vested yet again the operations of KCM to the same controversial Vedanta, leaving some citizens with unanswered questions. Economic Freedom Fighters leader Kasonde Mwenda wonders why President Hichilema has betrayed not only the Zambian people but also his word too.
Actually set back, and we are demanding for a quick reversal we cannot give back KCM to VEDANTA because it is on record, and we are actually worried because President Hakainde Hichilema and the UPND know the very facts that they're exposing Zambia to. That's a travesty. Right now, VEDANTA is in dire straits. For us to go back to such kind of vomit, it is an insult to the people of Zambia. President Hakainde Hichilema said he had his friends who are going to invest in Zambia, and they had $25 million US, and he said he was going to bring a new investor. What is so new about that bundle of criminals?
Our party, the general membership of our party, and the Zambian people, they wish to inform the government that the people of Zambia has refuted this decision.
However, Zambia National Youth Think Tank Executive Director Mumba Teburu feels the opposite.
There could be divergent views across various stakeholders, but I think for us as young people from the Zambia National Youth Think Tank, it is incumbent upon leadership. Leadership must be able to resolve issues and not to actually, run off the way. We know that the liquidation process, first of all, was not done in whole honesty. And we know that some of the people that were given roles to liquidate this asset, we know what cases are there apparently. So for us, we feel that Zambians have won on this particular issue. The people on the Copper Belt have actually won on this particular issue.
What has VEDANTA got to offer this time around after failing to comply with the Zambian laws is a question that demands a million answers. Vincent Piri for Camnet TV News, Lusaka.
Meanwhile, the Advocates for National Development and Democracy Executive Director Samuel Banda says he is happy that government has given back Konkola copper mines to the rightful owner, Vedanta Resources Limited. Addressing the press in Lusaka Wednesday, Mr. Banda says some of the economic benefits that will come with the unlocking of KCM include employment and business opportunities, stability of the kwacha against major convertible currencies, promotion of trade and commerce, increase in forex, and restoring Copperbelt's economic development. Meanwhile, the Patriotic Front PF has accused President Hakainde Hichilema of having a personal agenda in Konkola copper mine, hence the decision to hand it back to Vedanta Resources Limited. More in this report.
The announcement made by the Zambian government through the Mines Minister Paul Kabuswe that it has given back Konkola copper mines to Vedanta Resources Limited after 3 years of court battles has cheered many consultants who have been championing for the return of Vedanta on the premise that life on the copper belt has become hard following the liquidation of not just Konkola copper mines but Mopani as well.
Some of the key economic benefits that we expect with the unlocking of KCM include employment, business opportunities, stability of our national currency kwacha, increase in forex, restoring of copper belt economy. As you may be aware, the mainstay business economic activity of the copper belt is mining.
Development that Vedanta is finally returning to take over KCM is probably the best news that we've heard this entire year. Because KCM was dying, Copper Belt was in its knees economically. And the new Dawn government has just demonstrated that it is a listening government. It heeds to the demands of the community members.
We are deeply elated that this news has finally come. We know what this means for our residents, the residents of Chilawombo. This means more employment, especially for the youths. And economic revampment of the district as a whole.
Free to come and invest in the emerald sector. We are actually planning on seeing KCM Vendetta management so that as an association we discuss how best they can help even this sector to resuscitate.
However, the former ruling party, the Patriotic Front, who were responsible for placing the two mines under liquidation, are disappointed at the UPND for giving back the mine to a company that abused its stay by running on a loss for over 20 years and failing to pay the contractors and suppliers, and says President Hakainde Hichilema has his personal agenda in the matter.
Have been declaring losses for 20 years. Like leader of the opposition has stated, what necessitated government's action? There is a technical audit that was done, that their mining license should be suspended. They owed millions of dollars to utility companies, ZESCO, CEC, suppliers and contractors, in excess of $300–400 million. They had a total debt against the mine assets of $1.5 billion. Why would you bring that back such an investor who has a terrible record of 20 years pillaging and stealing and plundering your natural resources?
In May of 2019, the Zambian government, through the leadership of President Edgar Lungu, took possession of KCM following the Lusaka High Court's decision to appoint a provisional liquidator tasked to wind up the company. And despite VEDANTA resources indicating that it had been running on losses for over 20 years, the embattled company has now pledged to invest $1.3 billion in a loss-making mine, with pledges to pay all the suppliers and contractors it owes, as well as pump $20 million in corporate social responsibility. Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
And United Party for National Development UPND youths have welcomed the return of Vedanta resources at Konkola Copper Mines, KCM. UPND Deputy National Youth Chairperson for Mobilization, Trevor Mwinde, says the return of Vedanta takes into consideration the interests of Zambians owing to lengthy negotiations that characterized the process. Speaking in an interview with Camnet News Wednesday, Mr. Mwinde says the coming back of Vedanta will see, among other benefits, the creation of more jobs on the copper belt.
Liquidity aspect of the community on the copper belt will be brought back to normal, and payment of about 20 million investment into the local social corporate responsibility, which will be done annually through a special trust. That will entail that certain things which were not done in the past, it will be an entitlement to the people of the copper belt, and also a 20% increase in the salaries for employees. That means that if somebody was getting 7,500, they will go towards about 12,500. So that is a good move to all those youths that are focused on getting employment opportunities. And we as youths, we have also come to terms and come to realization that indeed the New Dawn leadership respects local regulations and the local judicial proceedings, and also it abides by international agreements. That on its own, His Excellency Hagende Ejirem and his cabinet, we wish them long life, and we wish them good leadership and guidance from God above in heaven.
Former First Lady Esther Lungu has been arrested for alleged theft of a motor vehicle, a title certificate, and possessing property alleged to be proceeds of crime. Police Deputy Spokesperson Danny Mwale confirmed the development to Camnet News that the former First Lady has been jointly charged with 4 others. Meanwhile, MOROCCO Member of Parliament Brian Mundubile is disappointed at the current status. Here is a report.
Barely 24 hours after opposition Patriots for Economic Progress President Sean Tembo was released from police cells, the latest casualty is the former First family, as police have arrested former First Lady Esther Lungu on allegations of theft of motor vehicle, certificate of title, and possession of property suspected to be proceeds of crime. The alleged offense are said to have occurred between May 2022 and September 2022. In this matter, the former First Lady is alleged to have given her niece $400,000 cash for safekeeping. However, the niece passed on the money to Elizabeth Chanjapiri and her daughter Fuhana Patel. It is alleged that after discovering that the money was missing, police pursued Elizabeth Chanjapiri, who later entered an agreement with the former First Lady and decided to surrender motor vehicles and other properties. Police Deputy Spokesperson Danny Mwale explains that the former First Lady Esther Lungu, 66, is jointly charged with James Piri, 49, Lichi Sulo, 31, Kapambwe Lungu, 42, and Catherine Banda, 13. Among the accused, 3 are believed to be police officers who are said to have helped Mrs. Lungu in investigating a matter where she she reported that her money had gone missing and managed to recover it. Mrs. Lungu is also facing 1 count of theft of a certificate of title for a property sitting in Lusaka's Livala South area, an offense of possessing property believed to be proceeds of crime contrary to the law.
Police have formally charged and arrested the former First Lady Esther Lungu, aged 66, James Piri, aged 49, Lichi Sulo, aged 31, Kapambwe Lungu, aged 42, and Catherine Banda, aged 30, all of Lusaka, for 3 counts of theft of motor vehicle contrary to Section 281 of Chapter 87 of the Laws of Zambia. The suspects have also been charged and arrested with 1 count of theft of a certificate of title of a property in Livala South. Mrs. Lungu has also been charged and arrested for the offense of possession of property which is believed to be proceeds of crime contrary to Section 71 of the Forfeiture of Proceeds of Crime Act number 19 of 2010. All the suspects are currently detained in police custody.
Flanked by former President Edgar Lungu and appearing before Ibex Hill Police Station Wednesday morning, Morocco Member of Parliament Brian Mundubile is disappointed at the current status.
So if at all they have something they want to find out from the former First Lady, our appeal to him is that let there be fairness as justice in implementing whatever measures that want to implement. Can they allow the rule of law and the law to...
So if the former First Lady has infringed the law and the police find it fit to arrest her, the law must take its course. And this whole idea of saying because she's the former First Lady, therefore she cannot be kept safe in police custody, really is to suggest that then she's above the law. Anybody who is arrested goes through a process. Sometimes you are kept in a police custody, sometimes you are released the same day, but it's the law that applies to every citizen regardless of the state.
By broadcast time, lawyers to Mrs. Lungu were still negotiating for police bond as former President Edgar Lungu vowed to camp at the police station until the release of his wife. Nelson Zulu for Camnet News, Lusaka.
And in court news, a banker from Zanaco has told the Economic Financial Crimes Court that he is not aware of the offense that Ndozo Lodge's proprietor, Clinches Sichamba, and others are allegedly being charged with before court. Wellington Kayame told Magistrate Irene Wishimanga in his testimony that his duty was to produce documents relating to a family trust account. This is in a case of Mr. Sichamba. His wife Eudore Nambela and 3 others are facing 133 counts of being in possession of property suspected to be proceeds of crime involving more than 781 million kwacha and more than $10 million US. More in this report.
The Specialized Economic and Financial Crimes Court under the Lusaka Magistrate heard testimony from a banker in a matter where a Lusaka businessman, Ndozo Lodge's proprietor Clinches Sichamba, is accused of being in possession of property suspected of being proceeds of crime. Wellington Kayame, a banker at Zanaco, told Magistrate Irene Wishimanga this morning that he is not aware of the offense the accused are standing trial for, as his duty before court was to produce documents relating to a family trust account, an account the accused are alleged to be in possession of. In his testimony, the witness said sometime last year the bank was visited by the Anti-Corruption Commission, who were seeking details of the said family trust account. The document had a mandate file and a statement of the account on both the kwacha and dollar account. During cross-examination, the witness confirmed to the court that he did not identify any of the 4 accused persons in the case. This is in a case in which Mr. Sichamba, who is also former President Edgar Lungu's associate, is jointly charged with his wife Eudore Nambela and son David with corruption charges involving over 781 million kwacha and more than $10 million United States dollars. According to investigative wings, the trio were also arrested for possession of 140 properties suspected of being proceeds of crime. The 3 accused are jointly charged with Ndozo Lodge and Mulozi Trading Limited co-directors and shareholders. According to court documents, the accused are standing trial on 133 counts of charges bordering on corruptly acquiring property, offences which they have denied before the courts of law. The 8th of September 2023 has been set as the date for continuation of trial. Miriam Kaemba, reporting for Camnet TV News.
A medical doctor has told the Lusaka Magistrate Court that the 12-year-old girl who was allegedly defiled by her father was found HIV positive. Dr. Rokaya Jinwala from the University Teaching Hospital testified that a physical test she conducted showed the victim's hymen broken. This is in a case in which Teddy Simwanza, who is also believed to be a pastor, has been charged with incest. More in this report.
Trial continued in the Lusaka Magistrate Court Wednesday morning in a case where a Lusaka businessman is accused of defiling his 12-year-old daughter. Standing in the witness dock this morning was Dr. Rokaya Ngiwala from the University Teaching Hospital, who told court that a medical examination on the victim, who was allegedly defiled by her father, were consistent with allegations of sexual abuse. In a further testimony, Dr. Rokaya said the victim's hymen was torn, and the medical examination further revealed that she was infected with a sexually transmitted disease. This is in a case in which Teddy Simwanza, who is also believed to be a pastor, has been charged with incest, a matter which was reported to the police sometime in 2022. Allegations are that sometime last year, police received a report that the accused of Emersdale area was allegedly defiling his biological daughter. It is alleged that the school authorities had noticed that the girl was strangely quiet and did not want to interact with her friends, and at some point she looked exhausted with red eyes. It is also said that the child, whose mother died when she was 8 years old, was allegedly not allowed to interact with her friends. Investigations into the case led to the arrest of her father, who was later charged with incest. After the arrest of the accused, authorities later got the victim for safe custody. The matter stands adjourned. Miriam Kaemba, reporting for Camnet TV News.
We'll take a break. Join us for more news after the break.
You know I can take her a bit.
Yes, my dear.
I was thinking of getting you a Bugatti on your birthday.
Really?
I'm quiet. My name is Yana.
Don't worry, man. That's why there is insurance.
Insurance?
You heard me.
Not just any kind of insurance, but Savenda General Insurance, a company that offers superior customer service, highly professional and dedicated staff. We are not just any insurance company, but an insurance company that actually pays our claims. We cover, among others, fire, marine, aviation, engineering, agriculture, motor vehicle, and miscellaneous insurance. So, live life to the full, knowing that Savenda General Insurance has got you covered. Savenda General Insurance. Insurance excellence.
Deborah, have you connected to the Wi-Fi on the bus? It's fast, it's amazing. I've just downloaded my books and I'm about to complete the series. It's nice, too, me.
No, I'm actually watching a reality show. He's about to propose. Oh, so sweet.
Make your trip seem short yet comfortable and safe when you use the UBZ luxurious fully air-conditioned coaches that come fitted with amazing onboard entertainment, passenger information services, coffee-making facilities and fridge for your hot and cold beverages, free and interrupted Wi-Fi for your gadgets, phone charging facilities, comfortable seats that recline to offer extra resting posture, safety seat belts, adjustable reading lights for each traveling client, and of course, clean flushing toilets for your convenience. So travel in luxury and safety with UBZ luxurious coaches. UBZ will always take you there.
Water is life. Each drop counts and each must be cherished. Our tried and tested product meets all international standards. With our smart drip technology, we aim to deliver precision irrigation designed to reduce blockage and wastage, ensuring a high yield. RenGlow, your smart irrigation partner.
Get all the latest updates in court news only on Camnet TV. We take you and make you feel part of the court sessions through our in-depth coverage of the adjudication process. Get informed on those who have been arrested, delayed and denied the police bond or bail victims, persons taking plea, court adjournments, verdicts, and those administration issues in the judiciary. Camnet TV is on channel 274 on DSTV, channel 25 on GoTV, and find us on channel 106 on Topstar. You can also follow and give us a like on our social media platforms. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
We continue with the news. The Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development has disclosed intentions to replace waste bins on the islands of Lusaka Central Business District with skip bins to curtail the indiscriminate disposal of waste. Permanent Secretary in charge of Administration Mambo Hamaundu says in order to curb the vice, the ministry is procuring skip bins which will be rolled out to all parts of the country. He warns that once the countrywide procurement of skip bins is concluded, residents will be compelled to adhere to the law against indiscriminate disposal of waste. Here's a report.
While government seeks to have a clean and greener environment in the country, for some time, waste management has been a thorn issue. In an attempt to champion the agenda of cleanliness, government spearheaded the removal of vendors on the streets on Lusaka and across the country on Friday, 18th July 2023. The move received with mixed feelings from various stakeholders who questioned if after the removal of vendors on the streets, cities would attain hygiene standards, while others have been calling for the replacement of waste bins along the islands of Lusaka Central Business District. Permanent Secretary in charge of administration at the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development, Mambo Hamaundu, says the introduction of waste bins in the CBD of Lusaka is not sustainable to managing waste. Mr. Hamaundu says the government has resorted to purchasing movable skip bins which will be rolled out countrywide in due course.
The number of people I've heard, a number of people saying we need to place a bin in the middle of the road, in islands and things like that. Those will not help resolve the challenge. Well, as government, we've realized there's a challenge when it comes to collection of garbage, and to just mitigate that challenge that most local authorities are facing, we have procured trucks and bins with them. We call them skip bins and skip truck loaders, to try and ameliorate the challenge that most local authorities are facing. We've bought 10 of these, and they'll be distributed to a number of local authorities across the country.
The local government controlling officer has however warned that once distribution of skip bins is completed, laws on indiscriminate dumping of waste will be enforced blindly.
The historical garbage, but afterwards we will have a lot of enforcement activities. That is to say that anyone who will be found dumping garbage indiscriminately will have to be dealt with, because they are polluting the water, they are causing challenges in terms of depletion of our ozone layer when they burn this garbage. So we want to protect the future of our country, or the future of this world. So we must begin to manage this solid waste properly, and as a demonstration for that, we have made these vehicles available to support the activities through the local authorities.
Nelson Zulu for Camnet News, Lusaka.
Kembe constituency lawmaker Princess Kasune says the introduction of free education will play a vital role towards combating child marriages in the country. Speaking with Camnet News, Ms. Kasune says if young people spend more time in school, it will help reduce child marriages. He says President Hakainde Hichilema has demonstrated commitment to curb child marriages, as seen from the pronouncement to ensure that parents and guardians are made to account for marrying off children at a tender age.
Is the president himself, who is a champion against child marriage through the SADC. He is also saying those who be found wanting, they will also be brought to book. Meaning, if you consent to that kind of a marriage, you will be found wanting. So it's also calling upon the police, ourselves as a community, to police ourselves. Because, like I was saying, SR HR issues, or should I say sexual, reproductive, human rights issues, are developmental issues. We seem not to realize that, especially in Africa and in Zambia. We think, oh, there goes the champions on sexuality education. There goes Honorable Kasune because she's an HIV and AIDS advocate. No, when we do not discuss these issues, our children will drop out of school as a teenage mother. Then what have we done? We have lost out on someone who should have contributed to the nation. And the burden to the nation become huge. I mean, I'm HIV positive. That's a big burden for the country to sustain you on life drugs for the rest of your life. So the more other people get infected, the more it drains the nation. So I think we need to create an investment case to realize that if we prevent our young people from becoming mothers at a tender age, from giving birth at a tender age, from going into early marriages at a tender age, and that can only be complemented by also boys knowing that we need to respect our girls, by men knowing that these are my children, I shouldn't see them as sexual objects. So it takes a shift for us, and that will help in our development, it will help in our economy, and our future will be much brighter.
Chikankata constituency member of parliament Jacqueline Stavao says unity and peace are the only ways the constituency will realize the intended development. Ms. Stavao said government's restoration of peace, law and order should act as a benchmark of goodwill to other people across the country. Ms. Stavao was speaking when she toured the constituency, where she led a group of people in cleaning Nansenga Clinic before proceeding to Chikankata Salvation Army Mission Hospital, where she donated 28 bedsheets as well as painted the hospital block in commemoration of 2 years of the UPND government. Ms. Stavao further urged the people of her constituency to go into high production of maize. And speaking at the same event, Southern Province United Party for National Development Chairperson Billiard Makwembo commended the UPND government for shaping a lot of communities through the Constituency Development Fund, CDF.
The government in power and want to show society that ours is humanity, and like where people celebrate, drink, eat, but as we chose through the president, he directed us that ours is to go out there, work with the people, clean the environment where patients are, so that you have a clean environment. When you have a clean people around, even the spirit will be clean. So what we are doing is that we show people that what we are doing is paying back to the people, the community, and like getting. We want to follow what Jeff Kenneth said, that as human beings, it's time we think of what is it that I can do to my society, and like every time to say, what has this country done to me? But if you have something to give, and you realize that in giving you receive. This is what we are doing as a New Dawn government under the able leadership of Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, the President of the Republic. The New Dawn government in 2 years have achieved a lot of things, but cardinal among them is the issue of free education. Because my understanding is that when you educate one person, you educate the whole nation. You give knowledge to an individual, and no one will get away that knowledge until I go with it in my grave. So there are a lot of things. As Chikankata is an agriculture area, we used to receive 2 bags of fertilizer under the past regimes, but at the moment our people are receiving 6 bags of fertilizer, meaning the president is paying attention to agriculture, and agriculture in this country is a very important sector of our economy. Hence, I appreciate the leadership of His Excellency Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, my president.
We'll take a second and final break. We have more news in international sports after the break.
Water is life. Each drop counts, and each must be cherished. Our tried and tested product meets all international standards. With our smart drip technology, we aim to deliver precision irrigation designed to reduce blockage and wastage, ensuring a high yield. RenGlow, your smart irrigation partner.
Every Monday to Thursday afternoon, join us for the Lunchtime Cafe. We get to bring to you emerging stories making the headlines, midday news, and we remind you of what political leaders and governance actors said back in the days. In Forgotten Stories, we emphasize to you the importance of eating healthy foods and leading healthy lifestyles on the Nutrition Corner. Get the latest updates in sports and critical interviews. Because we value your contribution to national matters, we accord you an opportunity to share your perspectives during the viewers' reactions. The Camnet TV Lunchtime Cafe is an all-inclusive buffet. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
Welcome back. And now in international news, Egyptian President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi called Tuesday for measures to slow the birth rate in the Arab world's most populous country, citing China's one-child policy as an example. Here's a roundup of international news for more.
The Egyptian President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi has called for measures to calm the country's ever-growing population. Sisi cited China's one-child policy as a way to have control of overpopulation. Egypt's population currently stands at 105 million. The country recently recorded nearly 2.2 million births in 2022. You need 400,000 births per year because we don't just need to reduce the births to 2.1 or 1.8 or even 1.5. No, we need to reduce more in order to compensate the failure of the state in dealing with the population increase of the last 70 years. We need to reach 400,000 births per year within 20 years. Sisi was intervening when his Minister of Health and Population, Khaled Abdel Hafar, told a conference that having children is a matter of complete freedom. He warned that overpopulation is a risk to a country. I don't agree with the complete freedom of births for people who potentially do not know the extent of the challenge. In the end, it is the entire society and the Egyptian state that will pay the price. The Chinese started that in 1968, and in 2017 they gave again the freedom for more than one child. Egypt's population has increased by 25 million people in the past 10 years, despite efforts by government to curb population growth, according to the country's planning minister.
Two former executives at a Swedish oil company accused of complicity in war crimes committed by Sudan's regime between 1999 and 2003 have gone on trial in Stockholm. They are accused of asking Sudan's government to make its military responsible for security at the site of their oil exploration field.
The accusations against us are false, they're completely false, and they're also very vague. Sudan has suffered from internal conflicts for many, many years, but we never had anything to do with these conflicts. To the contrary, we were a force for good, and the company always operated to the highest ethical standards. Thank you.
Prosecutors argued that the accused were complicit because Lundin Oil knew that asking Sudan's government to make the military responsible for security meant it would take control of the area by military force.
We are here today to show our support for the people in South Sudan who have suffered the consequences of the oil companies. For me, it is important as a Swede to take stand against the Swedish company that's doing something that's not morally right.
The trial is said to be the biggest in Swedish history, following a 13-year probe, a more than 80,000-page investigation report, and with closing arguments scheduled for February 2026.
In our sports news tonight, the Football Association of Zambia, FATTAH, has clinched 2 FIFA international friendly matches with Royal Morocco Football Federation, FRIMF, that will see the Copper Queens play against the Atlas Lionesses during the September 18 to 26 international window. FATTAH's General Secretary Ruben Kamanga says the 2-match fixtures will be held in Rabat as the two sides prepare for next month's Paris 2024 Olympic Games qualifiers. Mr. Kamanga says the two teams are looking to gauge their strengths ahead of the Paris 2024 Olympic qualifiers after featuring at the ended FIFA Women's World Cup in New Zealand and Australia. And FATTAH's President Andrew Kamanga says he is looking to launch a new phase for the Copper Queens that completed an exciting cycle that saw them qualify to the Tokyo 2020 Olympic Games and win the COSAFA Cup, among other accolades. Mr. Kamanga says the friendly with the Atlas Lionesses is a good opportunity to kickstart a new era for the Copper Queens that should be looking at another WAFCON success story, Olympic qualification and World Cup chess. To end Camnet television news, the top stories once again. Former First Lady Esther Lungu arrested for theft of a motor vehicle. Divergent views emerge over government's return of KCM to Vedanta. KANYAMA man nursing injuries after being battered by police officers. In international news, Egyptian President ABDEL FATTAH al-Sisi calls for measures to slow birth rate. That is sports news. FATTAH's clinches Morocco friendlies for Copper Queens. Our Camnet verse of the day is coming from the book of Colossians 3 verse 23. Whatever you do, work at it with all your heart as working for the Lord, not for human masters. Thanks once again for watching Camnet Television News. My name is Jeffrey Ziambo. Good night.